Hello, my dear friends. It's Manuel Kanza here once again. It's been a while. I haven't made the videos like this for you guys for quite a while, but I think that you know why I have been away. It's because I was making my movie called Olika, which premiered last month, and it's still available here in the membership on YouTube for you to watch. But today's topic is about African teachers overseas, meaning dancers from Angola that travel to teach. Okay, this is gonna be an interesting topic, and also I like to talk about things that are real. I like to have some honest opinions about things that happen here in Angola, and also I like to always touch base on topics related to Kuduro and Afro house and the music, and I like to talk about foundation and how all these dances are taught to other people that are not from the culture. Okay, for a long time, I will tell you a little bit about my background. If you are new on this video today, I am a professional Kuduro and Afro House instructor from Angola. I have been teaching for a very long time, since 2012. Before I started to officially become online teacher and also traveling, I was training with Tony Amado, and then I trained with the muchachos who are the students of Tony Amado himself. And one of the things that I learned throughout those years as I was training with them is the foundation and their mindset on how they created these moves. Obviously, if you follow the trend, you know that most of these moves from Kuduro that are being done now are moves that already existed since the 90s when they created those steps. And those steps were some mix of electronic dance, popping, locking, a little bit of hip hop inside the Kuduro genre. But this was before Tony Amado put hands on what we call today Kuduro, which he changed a lot of things until to date. So, one of the things that I learned from them, which is very important, is being authentic. First of all, be authentic. You can have all the knowledge in Kuduro Afro House, but you have to choose which one to represent, because these dances require some sort of energy and some sort of style for you to perform and for you to teach. And if you have not the clue about the posture, the right style for you to also choose the right music, you're going to have a little bit of difficulty teaching beginners or even teach advanced students on how they should see the difference between Kuduro and Afro House. Now, one of the most difficult things that we Angolans have is to teach those fast moves to students that never did Kuduro and Afro House. And the other problem with students is that they want to learn the difficult moves first. And I see in the internet many people, they want to learn the fast footwork of Afro House and the fast footwork of Kuduro. Everything they want to learn is the fast part only. So most of the dancers here in Angola, they realize that, and this is why you see when you come to learn, they will teach you the fast stuff, because this is what they understand that people want. There is nothing wrong with that. It's just that it's gonna take you a long time to actually get into the proper dance, into the proper style of the genre. So what you want to do first is learn the slow ones. The slow ones would include Sharakuza, do Milindro, Bella, Sapo. You can learn Limpuchão. You can learn Tia Maria. You can learn what's the other, Takema. Those will get you to the proper groove before you start to learn to use your legs and your arms. Most of these dances that we create here in Angola, they always have some sort of combination with legs and arms. But the thing is that when we teach our students coming overseas, because sometimes we don't really focus much on numbers and people depend on those counts. It becomes a huge issue putting the dance into the music. Not for most of us, but mostly for our students coming outside of Angola. So traveling teachers, Angolan traveling teachers teaching overseas, it is very nice to have an idea of where you are going to teach so that you know how you are going to perform or even teach your students what you are intending to teach. Meaning, if I'm going to Europe, I will study what kind of style people do in that region for me to understand how am I going to teach my students there. Because sometimes people, if they are used to doing a certain style of dance, it's some dances that makes it very hard for you to actually getting into Kuduro. Like if you're coming from dance hall, you're going to get a lot of moves mixed up in your performance. For example, if you do dance hall and then you go do Afro house, there are gonna be some moves that your mind is going to trick you. So it's not a problem, it's just that sometimes if you are not used to changing that fast, your Afro house will not look very authentic because you're gonna add body roll, and we don't do we don't do body roll in Afro house as much unless you're doing makeup. But even on makeup move, you're not doing body roll. So just for example, and the other thing is, if you are going somewhere where people have zero knowledge about Kuduro and Afro House, one of the most important things to do is take your time. Don't teach people 10, 15 moves or a very complex choreography, because we know we like to see our students dancing fast, beautiful, and strong, because that reflects how professional the teacher is. Sometimes it's not about that. Sometimes it's about making sure that the people that are coming into the class are actually going to leave that space knowing what Kuduro and what Afro House is. Now, another thing about traveling teachers is promote your class correctly. If you say Afro House, stick to Afro House class or workshop. If you say Kuduro, stick to Kuduro class. If you say Afrofusion, stick to Afrofusion. Because what happens is that nowadays it is starting to spread very fast. People are getting confused, like what is Afro House, what is Kuduro, what is Afrofusion. Everything and Afro dance, everything is it's a whole salad now. And this was a topic of 5 years ago when I started making these videos. I was talking about that. In 3 years from now, at that time, in 3 years or 5 years, I was saying that if we don't start to distinguish nicely what we are teaching, it's gonna be a huge salad. And a few years later, it is happening now. But something that changed that I really love right now is that people now are beginning to know what really is Kuduro. And I have someone that I would like to thank for that is Vandru Poster. He has been showing people what really makes Kuduro different from Afro House from his classes and from the way that he do the Kuduro Dombolo, the fast footwork. But there's more that can be done for people to understand, because that is not the only way you can dance Kuduro. Because there is also Kuduro underground that people don't know. You have to understand that Kuduro underground came first before any Kuduro that people naturally know. Kuduro underground is a dance that is not practiced daily basis, and very, very few dancers here in Angola do Kuduro underground. So it's very mysterious. It's very rare for you to find a very good Kudurista doing a Kuduro underground style. Now, if you do that dance, you will know exactly that it's not Afro House, not even close. So the reason I'm talking about these differences is because nowadays, even people that used to take classes from these traveling teachers, they are now teaching. And some will call themselves kings, queens, and not knowing that there is a whole history behind of these dances that have been done by many people that never came into internet and actually talk about this dance and talk about the culture. I could talk about this topic a lot, but it's very important that I make it clear that I'm not trying to talk bad about anyone's work, but I'm trying to say is that if a student promotes wrongly a dance style, it is not their fault. It is the teacher's fault. So this is why I'm making this topic about traveling teachers. If us Angolans, who are the protagonists of this culture, of this dance, are not organized enough to show people the real moves, foundation, the authenticity, being authentic for the steps, and also be honest about what you teach, then we shouldn't complain if our student says that she's the queen or he's the king of Afro House or Kuduro, because no one will ever feel so much confidence if they didn't have someone who showed them first. And the problem is that long time ago, most of our brothers and sisters would start to teach Kuduro and Afro House without even coming to Angola to experience and learn from the creators themselves. In the beginning, I was talking about myself, how before I started teaching, I took classes. For example, I'm an Angolan and I grew up seeing my culture develop. I'm from the 90s, that I saw Kuduro evolving from how it was to what it is today and when it started to fade. I saw all the evolutions of the dance itself and the revolution as well. And now today we have not only Afro House, but we have also sambalakite, and we have cassava style as well. There are many other styles that people don't know, that people have no idea, but you guys dance and you mix those styles inside the dance that you do when you dance Kuduro and Afro House, which are not Afro House or Kuduro, but it's another invention, just like sambalakite and cassava dance style. The thing is that most people will just watch these videos, learn those steps, and never give out names correctly to their students. When you give out names to your student, you are giving that person, how can I say, a vocabulary for them to study. Not all moves need to have names and not all moves have names, but when a move has names, it has meaning. And when it has meaning, then the way it's done is with more purpose, meaning that step or that movement will be done with more charisma. The way you are going to perform that step is going to make you also feel good and other people feel good. When I used to teach the move Fugarero, and I would explain to my students what Fugarero means, they were surprised why it was called Fugarero until I showed them why it's called Fugarero. And then they started laughing. First, they were confused why the name is grill, and then they got confused. Then they started to laugh when I did the grill movement, like setting the fire off in my genital parts. So you see, it's funny, but you will understand how the move was created, how funny it is to do it, and then it starts to make sense as you dance and you know exactly why you're doing the Fugarero. The move becomes more clear. It has another type of expression in your body, and it's just another whole different thing. Every time I teach this move, if a student is not understanding how to do the counts and how to perform it, I just explain to them what it means and how it's properly done, and then the whole thing changes. This is why I say, when you study foundation and you know the names and the meanings, then you are doing your homework. Because when some students only understand the dance maybe on the music, when the music plays, others understand when you explain very well to them, others understand when you do counts. Without counts they can't do it. And some understand when you make sound like boom, pa, ha, ha. They understand those rhythms, and you give them on the rhythm of the music without playing the music, they feel confident to do the steps. So you should know your students from when you get to class and you are doing warm-up. As you're doing warm-up, you're understanding them. One of the things that happens is a teacher will get into a class, immediately they show the whole choreography before they even start to teach the students. That intimidates your student, and obviously they will feel very intimidated to getting into that difficult choreography. First, you need to show step by step, very slow, take your time to show them the choreography. Then in the end, that's when you show the full result for them to understand now, oh, this is how I should place my energy. Everything that I'm saying right now applies to the topic that we're talking about, because these are things that when we go outside to teach, we forget. We get very excited about being out there and teach and expand our knowledge, and we forget these details. It's very important for people to really understand what we're doing. Otherwise, we are going to have students, queens, and kings. And what happens is the guys here in Angola, they are working very hard every day to come up with new dance challenges. Now, this is another topic that I'm going to get into. Before, here in Angola, people would create steps with the music, and it would be one move only. Now, ever since COVID, the moves are coming out like a choreography. It would come out with the full mini piece of choreography, which we call desse. So these desse that we call right now are the new ways to create movements, are new ways to create new dances. So these new dances, you will find most of the TikTok dancers from Angola doing them in the new musics that will come. Usually there's always gonna be 1 or 3 choreographers that are gonna come up with some new ideas. So I'm gonna continue this topic in the next video, but I wanna thank you for being here until now, listening to me yapping about traveling teachers. I have done my mistakes in the past, but because I learned from the creators themselves, and I know I've made a couple of mistakes that I mentioned here, I made them, but I knew very quickly that it would not take me very far if I just focus on choreography when I teach my students. And I decided immediately to just focus on foundation and teach people how to do the moves properly first, before any choreography is intended. And one of the most difficult things to do is actually leave your house, go teach with the choreography already created. It's very frustrating for a teacher to get there and then the students are not even giving their best, because some students will take your energy. You will be there screaming, trying to get them to dance, but they're so shy, they never move their hips, they don't want to move their shoulder, they don't want to be in front, they don't want to be talked to, they just want to be at the back, hiding and not doing much. So you have to be prepared to get into the class and be able to create a choreography from the warm-ups that you're going to do and the introduction of the steps that you're going to teach, especially for a beginner class. All right, guys, this was some topic that I didn't want to expand too much about traveling teachers, but these are just some of the most fundamental stuff I wanted to talk about. Obviously, I'm going to expand more about this topic, but I just wanted to share with you guys some of the things that happen here in Angola and outside of Angola, especially when traveling teachers are going to teach. They forget one of the most important things to do is actually teach people the foundation before you teach any choreography. Thank you. My name is AfroKanza. As always, I will come back with more stories to talk to you about.